Warren Buffett said this sentence for years: if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. I'm sure you've heard that quote before. It's printed on t-shirts. It's on coffee mugs and it's all over social media. But most people treat it like inspiration. It's not inspiration, it's math. And today, I want to break down the most dangerous financial trap in the modern world. Not emotionally, not politically, but mathematically. We call it the employee trap. The first problem starts here. You're selling the only asset you can't replace. Most people watching this are selling the only asset they can never get back. That's their time. You wake up, you commute, you sit in a building for 8 to 10 hours. And in exchange, someone deposits money into your account. It feels normal, but from a financial system's perspective, it's fragile. Imagine you owned a store, but every morning you only had 24 products on the shelf. Once you sell those 24 items, you're done. No matter how high demand is, no matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, your revenue is capped by inventory. That's your life when you only sell hours. You can become a doctor. You can become a lawyer. You can charge $1 an hour. But if you stop working, the income stops. That's linear income, and linear income always has a ceiling. But the real surprise isn't income. It's how the system treats different types of income. Let's talk about tax structure. In the United States, earned income is typically taxed at higher rates than long-term capital gains. Wage earners pay federal income tax, state income tax, payroll taxes and Social Security and Medicare before the money even hits their bank account. Meanwhile, income from investments, if structured properly, is often taxed differently, sometimes more favorably. The system rewards capital formation. It doesn't punish workers out of malice. It incentivizes ownership because ownership builds productive assets. That's not a conspiracy. That's policy. Next, inflation doesn't hit everyone at the same time. Here's something even more important. When money supply expands, asset prices usually rise first. Stocks move, real estate moves, equity valuations expand, then consumer prices rise. And wages? Wages adjust last. Economists call wages sticky. That means if you rely purely on salary, you're almost always reacting to inflation, not benefiting from it. Asset owners often see appreciation before cost of living increases fully hit. Workers feel rising expenses before meaningful raises arrive. That gap compounds over time. The real difference isn't effort. It's the shape of income. Linear versus exponential. This is the core distinction. Selling time is linear. 1 hour equals 1 unit of pay. 10 hours equals 10 units of pay. If you want to double your income, you have to double your effort. But there is a physical limit. You cannot work 25 hours a day. Ownership operates differently. If you own equity in a business, that business can grow without your physical presence. If you build software, it can be sold thousands of times. If you create digital media, it can be distributed infinitely. If you invest in productive companies, they generate earnings whether you are working or not. That's exponential exposure. Your income becomes tied to systems, not just effort. The psychology of the paycheck. So why do most intelligent, capable people still choose linear income? Because stability feels safe. Predictability reduces anxiety. When you receive a paycheck every 2 weeks, your brain relaxes. You organize your life around that deposit. Mortgage, car payment, subscriptions, lifestyle. And the more obligations you build around fixed income, the harder it becomes to step away. It's not weakness, it's human psychology. We are wired for certainty. But financial independence rarely grows from certainty alone. Busy does not mean productive. This next idea might challenge how most workplaces measure success. In corporate culture, being busy is a badge of honor. But activity is not the same as leverage. If you spend all day chopping wood, you're too busy to design a chainsaw. Owners think differently. They ask, how can this be automated? How can this be systemized? How can this run without me? If your income depends entirely on your presence, you don't own an asset. You own a job. even if you gave that job to yourself. If this is the trap, how do you actually get out of it? The owner operating system. Now here's the good news. If you want to shift out of the employee trap, you don't need to quit tomorrow. That would be reckless. Your job can be your first investor. It provides the capital. But you must start reallocating that capital into ownership. Every dollar you earn has two options: consumption or recruitment. Spend it, and it's gone. Invest it, and it goes to work. Ownership can come from public equities, private business, digital products, intellectual property, scalable systems. The modern economy gives you leverage that didn't exist 30 years ago. Code, content, distribution platforms. The cost to replicate digital value is near zero. That changes everything. The real shift is how you start thinking about work. Think in systems, not tasks. Employees solve tasks. Owners build systems that solve tasks. If you freelance and handle every client interaction manually, you don't own a business. You own a demanding client list. If the machine breaks when you step away, you are the machine. The goal is simple. Build something that continues operating without constant input from you. That is what transforms income into an asset. But how do you actually start? The exit strategy. Here's the practical part. Don't burn the bridge. Build the runway. From Friday night to Sunday night, you are the CEO of your future. Use that time to develop scalable skills, build side income, invest consistently, learn asset evaluation, create systems. When your external income begins covering your essential expenses, you gain leverage, not arrogance, leverage. And leverage creates optionality. Optionality creates freedom. But numbers and strategies only tell part of the story. The rocking chair test. Before you click away, try this thought experiment. Fast forward to the end of your life. You're 90 years old. You're sitting quietly in a rocking chair. The noise of deadlines is gone. The meetings are gone. The titles are gone. The pressure is gone. All that's left is reflection. And in that moment, you won't be thinking about quarterly targets. You won't be thinking about performance reviews. You won't be thinking about the promotion you almost got. You'll be thinking about how you spent your time. Did you spend most of your life building something that truly belonged to you? Or did you spend it maintaining something that could replace you in a week? This isn't about judging employment. It's about ownership of your life. Money can be rebuilt. Careers can be restarted. Titles can be replaced. Time cannot. No matter how successful you become, you will never be able to buy back a single day. Not one. And that's why this conversation matters. Because financial independence isn't really about money. It's about options. It's about waking up and choosing, not reacting. It's about knowing that if the world changes, you're not fragile. If all of your income depends on your daily presence, your life will always carry quiet pressure in the background. But if even part of your income comes from assets you've built or invested in, something shifts. You breathe differently. You think differently. You move differently. The goal isn't to escape work. The goal is to build a life where work is a choice, not a dependency. The door has always been there. Not wide open, not easy to walk through. The only real question is whether you start walking toward it today.